Good morning, everyone. I know it's 9 a.m. and I just want to go ahead and get started so we can be conscious and respectful of everyone's time. For those of you that are still filing in, take your time, grab a bite to eat. Everything that you need, all of your materials are at your designated seats. First of all, I want to say welcome and thank you so much for having me here to share with you why men matter so much in education. My name is Alexander Smith, and I will be your trainer today, trying to give you tools and avenues as to how you as men can be more active in your sons or your daughters or your mentees' lives. And also, the ladies in the room, how you can encourage a male to be a better figure in that young person's life. Oftentimes, we see the word education. I don't know about you, but I remember being in school and I would get so frustrated with school. And as soon as I heard school, academics, education, I would get really frustrated. How many of you have experienced that, whether it's now or when you were a youth? Good. My own children show those same anxieties from time to time as well. And I find it frustrating as a parent to be involved, especially as a male figure, in their academic and educational journeys. So what I'm going to unpack for you today is things that you can do to be more active in that young person's educational journey, or other things that you can share with someone else to make sure that person is an advocate for you. Before we get started, I really want to unpack what the word education means. Again, for those of us that may have anxiety with the word education, we may not know or be conscious as to what it really means. So before I came here, I did a little bit of research to get a better understanding of what the term education is. And to help us out, I did a little bit of fact finding. The Merriam-Webster's dictionary says that the word education is the process or action of teaching someone within a school, university, or college setting. How many of you work in a college or school or university? All right, so based on this definition, it makes it tough for us to really be educational advocates for young people from our positions. Okay, let's look at another definition. The Oxford Dictionary says that education is the process of receiving or giving systematic instruction within a school or university setting. So we hear school or university or college, but we also hear systematic instruction. How many of you know what systematic instruction is, or even what it looks like? How would you navigate that with your young person? All right, I'm struggling with that too. So lastly, I did one last effort to research the word education. And I happen to use a reliable source that I believe in, which is Google. How many of you love Google? All right, I love Google, and this is what Google had to say about education. Google says education is simply an enlightening experience. When I read that, this light bulb went off in my head that this is what education is about. Now, some of you who may have been a little bit of nervous to be in this room because we were talking about education, or maybe you had anxiety, this is your time to understand that based on your position, you are already doing things within the educational realm. You're already a parent. You're already a teacher in some capacity, a tutor, an instructor, or even a coach. And if you're doing these things, it's already evident that you have the power to be an educator. Now, the thing as to why this particular program today is so important is because we want to change the narrative of just being a parent and really understanding our position and why us as educators are so very important, especially as men. Research has found that men who have been active in young people's lives, that young person tends to graduate from high school not only, but as well as enroll in college. Another thing that was very interesting about men being an influence in young people's lives that really hit home with me, my youngest son, Alex, he wasn't living with us originally. He was living with his mom, but he has been residing with us for the past year. Earlier this year, in March, I actually was awarded custody of my son. It's been the best thing that's ever happened to me and my family. But the one thing that really struck me with this information is my son was going through these social and discipline behavioral just challenges. He was tough. It was tough to really handle him from being so far away while he was staying with mom. But since he has been within our home, his behavior has changed. He's come full circle. He's better behaviorally, he's better academically, and he's better athletically. So he has truly changed. And I don't attribute saying that I'm just a perfect dad, but I just believe that there's something about a man when you feed into a young person, when you show that accountability or you're that accountable person for that young person, they look up to you. I know that's my timer. I'm going to get out of here, but I want to leave you with just a few things. This is some information. This is all on your handouts. This is a little bit more research as to why men are so important in education. The thing that stuck out to me the most was 63% of youth that complete suicide were young people who grew up without a father figure in their lives, whether it was in their homes or within their lives. That really struck a nerve with me, wondering how much of an impact we have just as a male community. Something else that really struck to me was the risk of being povertized. 4 times at a greater risk to live in poverty as a young person without having a father in the home or within their lives. And I understand that as a single parent household, when mom and dad split, that is tough. That's very tough. But I also look at the disparity between that young person and their peers who grew up with a 2-parent household and how they start to pull apart from each other, whether it's their academia or if it's their social skills or even just their human development skills, just as a community of youth. These are some things. These are all on your handouts. I wanted to share with you why men are important to you and I. Because when men start to do things as far as being engaged in our young people's lives, that we create a positive role model for a young person. It gives a young person someone to look up to rather than just their peers. We give them an alternative perspective of life. I really attribute my dad for showing me how to mow the lawn and change the oil on my car, something that my mom really wasn't as gifted in. So that really helped me out in my life today because I can pass that skill set on to my kids. I want you to understand that I'm not asking you to do a lot just to get involved in your kid's life. We can do this in bite-sized steps. Simply by mentoring the young people at your child's school, your child will think you're a rock star just because you walk into school and you read to his or her second grade classroom a simple book. Or if you bring donuts on one random day of the week, your child will look like a superstar and it'll really make you look like a hero. But these are very small things that you can do just to get acclimated with the academic and educational journey of your young person. You can chaperone the field trip. I've been asked to go on some field trips, some that are very fun, some that are very boring, but nonetheless, it gives you a time to really, really, really enjoy time with your son or daughter. You can really see your son and daughter while they're at school because those little creatures are different when they're not at home versus when they're in school. So take advantage of it. Sometimes you can go to the zoo, maybe they're going up the street just to visit a kitchen in the local community, but nonetheless, get involved and show your son or daughter, show their peers that you're heavily involved in